All right, here we go. How to prospect, how to talk to someone that's over the age of 50. Oh my goodness. On the
Okay.
fly. Susan
Okay, on
Carver.
the fly. So when you meet someone, the question was, how do you speak to someone? Well, someone has an age, and they have a history, and they have a culture, and they have programming, and they've had a lot of success in their in the back there, or they've not had success. I mean, you've got to start from a launching pad, and that launching pad of someone that's over 50 is they're more thinking about retirement. Someone that's, that's their kid, that's 25 or under, that's not where they're thinking. So in that person that's older, it's like, well, do you know how, let's say, they may ask you, well, what do you do? Well, do you know how people that are over 50, a lot of times they've worked 30 years of their life, but they really haven't saved what they need for retirement? And they'll go, yeah. And they say, well, what I do is I actually help them to get back a few of those years, and to be able to create some multiple sources of income, usually an extra 1,000 or 2,000 a month, while they keep their jobs. So that's basically what I do, is I help them use their contacts. I mean, because when you're in your 50s or 60s, you probably know lots and lots of people. So it's actually kind of investing some of your contacts in a very smart, wise way that's beneficial for all parties, but it'll help take that RPM of your income earning and take it up, from maybe a 2 RPM to maybe a 3 RPM. So that's what I do. Now, if that person just looks at you like that, that's not your person. That's not your peeps. That's not your tribe. Those aren't your people, right? But if they go, what do you, what, well, now they're coming in. So now everyone likes it when it's their idea, right? Some of you are married, you know that. Lady with the baby's like, sure enough. Yeah. So she makes him think it's his idea, and then, okay. So that's where you're going to have a higher success with people, is when they're kind of leaning into you instead of you kind of coming at them. And so that's for someone that's over 50, that would be a good strategy.
Now go back and do the one that's the 2-year out of college share. That was really good. Yeah.
Well, yeah. If someone that's fresh out of college, someone that's, in that 25 and under, maybe 30 and under, I don't know, but definitely
maybe have a job and some kind of passion work.
Well, they have these, even if they have a job and they're not playing in the gig economy, which is, getting a gig, it comes from, people played in a band, and, oh, I got a gig Friday night, I'm playing at the club or whatever, they got a gig. Well, that's now they've taken that word, and it's now a gig economy. So you outsource yourself and get a little money, and tune your Uber on, turn it off, turn it on, do something, don't do something, So younger people kind of like that. That's not for me, because I like to have that steady income, because I wanted a mortgage, and I wanted a home, and I wanted to be able to, count on a certain things. But with younger people, they like that whole flexibility. That's why you see, I can't speak for where all you guys live, but I never in my life have seen more apartment complexes being built. And these aren't ones you buy. These are not condos that you buy. This is an apartment. If I had a nickel for all the ones going up around Florida and here in Orlando, and I'm like, is everyone abandoning a home, or people now can't afford homes? You see? So it's like, wow, but I am not. In fact, my neighbor, a couple of doors down, just paid $20 million for a piece of land, and him and his company are going to put up another 500, 600 apartments. It's like, wow, I didn't see this kind of, explosion, going on. It's like they're renting. So it's never theirs, So the bill is always going to be $1,500, $1,600, $2,000, and it's, it's never going to go down to just your water bill and your light bill. No, it's not. It's gonna be that high thing. So I don't know how you ever retire if you have that $1,500 to $2,500 a month rent around your neck every single month? I mean, when
I
do you
think
ever?
it has to do with responsibility and what you're willing to take response uh, for yourself, to be
Right,
responsible for yourself.
right. So
And
talking, yeah, so talking to younger people, I didn't mean to interrupt, but when you're talking to
yeah,
younger people, it's more about flexibility. It's like, well, what do you do? What do you do? You ask them what they do. That's a great way. Hey, ask what they do. Oh, I work at the so and so, so and so, and so and so. Sometimes they'll ask you, and if they don't say it, well, Dee, you go ahead and tell them, right? You go ahead and say, hey, well, what I do is I actually help people. Familiar with the gig economy? Yeah. Well, actually, people have kind of that flexibility, but also a little bit more freedom and than people working in a traditional gig economy, because it actually is a little bit more on the passive income side. Really? Or, oh, excuse me, I'm late because the keeping up with the Kardashians are starting, so I gotta go, Dee. That's not your person. That's not your person. They just did you a favor, right? So,
but them being interested, and you know, I think there's still a segue. There's a segue that has to happen. So now you've perked that 20-year-old or 22-year-old's interest.
right.
Then there's what's the next step for you?
Okay. Well, it's very important. This is a good point, Barbara, that you brought up. Okay. There's a difference between prospecting and recruiting. Okay. So I want to give you guys a visual. And I don't like using this one because fish don't like to be caught. But just go with it. Okay. Because a fish doesn't want to be caught. They want to live in the ocean the rest of their life. They don't want to live on your dinner plate. Okay. But just go with it because it's a good analogy. And I think it'll help you file it somewhere here. Okay. Yeah. Prospecting is just taking bait. That's what people want. I wanted change in my life: mind, body, family, society, and finances. So you put that 5 pillars, an opportunity to create balance, or you put on the end of the pole, a product that can help maybe with some of their physical challenge, like their knee or their necks or their wrists or something like that. And prospecting is the act of tossing it out there and then just kind of letting it take here and you take it over here. I haven't done a lot of fishing. Some of you guys are probably laughing at me because I haven't done a lot, but I've seen it on TV. So that's prospecting, throwing and casting your line in different areas with the right interest creator, or the bait, is prospecting. So those conversations, Dee, that I was having are all prospecting. They're all creating curiosity. Like if someone has a water bottle at the gym and you say something, it's like, you drink bottled water? Oh, girl, I don't drink anything except bottled water. Ding, 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 ding. That's probably a good place now to cast your line, because they believe that chlorine, and they don't trust the free stuff. Right? Okay. So they got it a little bit better, but we have a better answer even after that, right? So you would then start the conversation. Well, do you know how people like yourself spend a lot of money on bottled water? Oh, yes, my whole family. I'm going to Costco and hauling it in. Well, what I do is I actually have a knowledge about a water bottle that you don't have to put all that plastic in the environment, and it's more alkaline, and it's about half the price. Okay, that is an example of casting your line into the right area.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Okay. So that's prospecting. Recruiting is where Barbara was trying to lead me to. And what's that next step? Well, the next step in the fishing analogy is now you start to bring it in. That's recruiting. That's a different thing. So what a lot of new people do is they get them all jumbled up like this together. And so then people feel like, get off me. because like, ugh, it's like so aggressive, and I don't even want the bait that you have, and it's like, all that kind of stuff. And that's why people don't like people in network marketing, because they don't identify and be a little more professional. What can I assume that this person may have an appetite for? And then what can I put on the end of my pole to attract them? Right? And so that's why you have to separate them. They are two different steps. Prospecting is creating the curiosity, trying to strike a little chemistry, a little rapport, right? Then the recruiting is then in the actual act of making a plan to show them more, or to give them more information, et cetera, et cetera. See, that's the two different things. So the second step would be that, does that sound curious to you? Or say, well, with your permission, this is what I learned a long time ago. With your permission, may I have your email or your phone number? And I'll send you some information on what I'm talking about. Right? Now, you say that because, again, they feel in control and safe. Okay. Yeah. I made a mistake. I was talking to a lady. I was doing yoga in the park, and I it was on the front row. There must have been like 70 people in that yoga class in the park. And I went right up to the teacher afterwards. I said, "Hey, I'd really like to talk to you about collaborating on some yoga stuff. May I have your number?" Now, I don't think I look weird or strange or whatever, but that's exactly how I said it. And she came back and she goes, "I don't know you." And I went, "Oh my gosh, I broke my rule. That's not what I do." So of course you're going to get that, right? So then that person, with the gig economy said, "Well, I'd like if you'd like to set up a time." And I don't really like to send them information, because Nikin really is a high touch, high feel type of product. So I really don't like to send information. When I send information, it's going to have the Nikin logo. And then when it has the Nikin logo, then they're Googling it. And then I've lost all control of what the situation is. Why do I want to keep control of the situation? Not for the sake of that, is because I'm going to share with them what I want to share with them. And the order I put it is very important, right? So if a guy goes, into a nightclub or something like that, and, asks a woman to marry him that night, or ask him to go home with him that night, and that's the first thing out of his mouth, probably not going to run. Well, that's recruiting before you prospect it. Prospecting, look at the guy on the couch smiling. I love it. All right. So prospecting is going in there and go, just looking at him smiling or something like that, and saying, commenting something on her blouse, or, "Hey, are those your friends, you're here with," or whatever like that. And, just starting a conversation. And then you have to go with it. If you're a funny guy, then you maybe do a joke. And she doesn't think you're funny, well, that kind of cured it right there, right? But if she thinks you're funny, and then this and that, and then you might get somebody to go home with you, and then you might get someone to, put a ring on it, right? So but you have to know the difference. You have to know the difference. You guys do it all the time. But in Nikin, prospecting, recruiting, and then you get this kind of low results. But if you'll be aware of it,
call you back. People call you back or talk to you because you've.
So the next step, you asked me that next step. That next step is to say, "Well, I'd like to get together with you if you're interested, and give you a little bit more information, because I think this might be something you'd be interested in. If you're looking for that flexibility, and you have a big heart, and you really like people, and it's not sales. It's actually really educating people, raising their awareness. So let's get together, and I'll call you back, because now it's obviously not a good time. You're going somewhere and I'm going somewhere. But with your permission, I'd like to sit down and see if this is something that might be of value to you." right? Now, those are on the fly type things. Those are hard to do. What I like to do is kind of sit back and I get my head around who somebody is and what's going on. So if I if I was you, right? Right? Way back 25 years ago, then I would go ahead and say, okay, before I just rush up in the phone here and call Susan and invite her to something or a webinar or something or whatever, let me just cool out, right? I need 5 people. So let's not get in a crazy hurry. Let's have urgency, but let's not be in a panic. So let's go ahead before we pick up and we have any contact in person or a phone with Susan. Let's just think for a second. Let's just think. Let's get our head around, where is Susan 25 years ago? Okay, let's see. What do I know about her? Well, she's not lazy, so that's good. And she's not a sheep. Oh, if everybody's doing this, yeah, see, I've known her. She's kind of eccentric in some ways and doesn't really care what people think. I mean, she does, but then she doesn't let it rule her. So that's good for Nikin. Boy, that's really good. Let's see. She can't stand her job. Why can't she stand her job? Well, it doesn't pay anything. And also her talents aren't being used. So she's how crazy if you sing like Pavarotti, but you're in a warehouse singing to yourself. I mean, at some point you have to know have that kind of Pavarotti talent and you're in a warehouse. There's nothing wrong with working in a warehouse, but not when you have a voice like Pavarotti. I read a book that I called it was called The War of Art, not the art of war. Make sure you don't get that because that book's going to be this big and it's going to cost you $19 in shipping. It's called The War of Art. And it is a fabulous book on how we self-sabotage ourselves and stuff like that. So what the last page of that book says, if you have a talent, don't you dare not share it. Whether it's public speaking, whether it's nursing, whether it's playing the piano, don't hide it because you're hurting all of us by you not sharing who you are. But a lot of people won't do that because of insecurities and things like that. So I was operating very low. I knew I was capable of more. And the older you get, that really starts to wear on you mentally because you're supposed to be doing this and you're over here doing this. Right. And that'll really mess you. That'll mess with you. And so, okay, so Susan's probably operating below her potential. She's not lazy. She's outgoing. She likes people, but she doesn't like her job. Okay. So when I prospect her, I need to mention some of those things. Okay. And then stay on that vein and then ask her a question. Okay. All right. Now I'm ready to talk to Susan. See? So, hey, Susan, how are you? Hey, is this a good time? No, it's not? Okay. You're watching the Kardashians? Not. Okay. So, is it a good time? Oh, it is? Okay. Awesome. Wonderful. Super. Oh, well, let me get right to the point. Susan, I've known each other. Well, gosh, we've known each other, 15 years or so. And I remember you've told me on multiple occasions that your job satisfaction is not really where you want it to be. Is that still the case? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Can you tell me what you like best about your job? What do you like least about your job? Like. Oh. Well, Susan, I think you've known me and we have a good relationship all these years. And I realized that I've noticed that you're not happy. But the other thing I've noticed about you, this is the compliment section, and they have to be real or this whole thing, you're just another slimy salesperson. Don't you dare compliment people if it's not real. Okay? But you say, Susan, what I've observed from you is you're a hard worker. Oh yeah, I got my work ethic from my mother. Well, it shows, honey. And you're such a friendly, outgoing person, and you're not really, everyone goes one way and you're kind of, kind of not a rebel, but, you just don't buy everything that everyone's selling. And I just couldn't stop thinking about something. And what that is that I've run across something that I think you could keep your job, but you and I could do on the side that would fulfill some of those desires and some of those God-given skills that you have, and that you could really flourish. And I think you could climb so much higher than where you are now. At least in the next 3 to 5 years, possibly even transition out of your job and have a business on your terms. So I'm not going to go into the details on the phone, because the technologies that we have are very experimental. What I mean by they have to be appreciated. They have to be kind of seeing is believing, or feeling is believing, Susan. Yeah, you're right. Okay. So I know you trust me. Just give me that 45 minutes to an hour. And if it's not something that could radically put you in a different, significant improvement of your mental happiness and financially, then, great. That's okay. It's not going to affect our friendship. We've been friends for 15 years. It's not. But I tell you what, girl, there is no way, after understanding the nuances of what this opportunity could be, that you could really excel and grow. I'd feel bad if I didn't tell you about it. So I've got Thursday open and I've got Sunday morning. Which one would be better for you? Now, do you see what I did? I had the whole prospecting, acknowledging who I am. Okay? Every one of you on this call have beautiful qualities. We all don't need to have all the same qualities. Okay? You have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, that 70% of the people in Niken are not my personality. I'm a promoter. 70% of my 11,000 people in my group are not like me. And they're still getting results, and they're still having fun, and they're still making a difference in people's lives. Okay? So, but all of you have different qualities that with Niken would be phenomenal. But if you're calling a prospect or someone you know in your phone, and you can't think of 4 really awesome qualities about them, why are you calling them? You don't have the right mentality. And I call it the presidential mentality. You get your shoulders back, you get your chin up. You're the president of your company. Get a grip. Don't be down here begging janitors to come in and run your company as vice presidents. There's nothing wrong with a janitor. I cleaned houses for 2 years after college because I was making $25 an hour. So I'm not putting it down. I'm just saying, really? You're going to run a company with a janitor mentality? Good luck. You're going to run an international business with someone who has this much awareness? No. So if you can't come up with 4 or 5 qualities, that they are honest, that they have integrity, that they have credibility with people, people like them, people trust them, right? That they're hardworking, that I've seen you, when you want something, you get it. If you can't think of 3 or 4 things to compliment your prospect, you need to go to the next name.
That's awesome, Susan.
And if you can't figure out what you have, what do you guys bring to the table? What do you bring to the table? What qualities that you have? And this is the last point, because I know we got to go. This is the last point. If you had a company and somebody gave you $1 million and you need to fill the positions, right? You're the owner, right? You need some vice presidents, and you need some middle management and some sales people, and you need some training people, and you need some people that are good with numbers and everything, right? And that's what most companies of a good
Right.
size need, right?
Right.
You can't have all vice presidents, then no one is going to clean the floors or count the money or go out on the sales calls and get the rejection. It takes all types to build that, right? So if you're a prospect, you're rushing to call these people. And so now you've contacted 35 people that are not even qualified to be in NECAN, and now you've been beat up 34 times. Are you going to call number 36? No, you're not. Because you're like, you know what? I don't need this. I got a job. I don't need this. But if you'll qualify, not judge, qualify who you're talking to, then when you put out 35 invitations, oh, wow, 10 or 12 came back and bought some product. Good. That's success. And 3 or 4 of them got in your business. And they're coachable, and they're hungry, and they're ready, and they care about people, and they've got influence, or they got a little soft charisma, or they got something going for them. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to go, okay. Now, what did I just give you the numbers? 12 and 4 got in, 16. That means that over half turned you down. But Barbara, you don't even know it because you don't even remember those no's because you got so much activity going on over here. Oh my gosh, that's right. More people said no than said yes. But you know, it's like it just runs right off your back because you don't even know it. You don't even feel it. So then you're going to go out and get another 36. And you keep sorting the laundry like that, and you'll find your stars. I did, right?
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Susan. This was great. This is amazing. And